everybody, and welcome to this month's People Per Hour and Supertasker webinar. We're so happy to have you here. I see that there are people from all over the world joining us today. It's really exciting. And today we're going to talk about boosting your click-through rates. A lot of people talk about how to get, more people to your email list, and they talk about how to get people to open your emails, which is all a part of improving your click-through rates. But today we're really going to focus on the actual email itself and improving your click-through rate. My name is Ariel Kransow, and I'm the head of community for People Per Hour and Supertasker. My job is to make sure that you feel like you have a place to go to have your questions answered when it comes to doing things with People Per Hour or Supertasker. And if you're new to our community, we want you to feel comfortable enough to reach out and become part of everything that we're doing, from webinars to live events. So for those of you that are new to People Per Hour, I'll give you a bit of an overview. People Per Hour is a platform that connects curated freelancers with people who need their services. We guarantee that all of our freelancers have been quality checked, and we guarantee the results. We keep your funds in deposit until you're happy with the deliverables, so that there's no question about, if I pay them, will they give me what I need? And lastly, it's efficient. You can work with freelancers remotely, save on overhead, and if you want, you can even invite freelancers to come work on site. Recently, People Per Hour launched Supertasker, which is a platform that connects you with freelancers in a different way. There's no haggling because it's set pricing. Your work gets started right away, and there are set deadlines, so you know exactly when you're going to get your work back. So I want to introduce our speakers today. We have two really smart, wonderful women joining us. The first is my colleague, Kelly Bolton. She does email marketing for People Per Hour and Supertasker. She's going to be around to help with the Q&A after the end of the webinar. And our main presenter today is Kendra Webb-Scott. She's an email marketing expert, and she works with Constant Contact, which is a platform that helps you send out all your emails and organize your contacts. Kendra has a unique approach to helping small businesses market themselves online, and she's going to share that with you today.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar, The Power of the Inbox. Today I'm going to be sharing tons of tips and tricks for successful email marketing. So I have a lot of information to share with you guys, but only a short amount of time, so I'm going to just go ahead and jump right into it. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kendra Webb-Scott, and I'm the founder and chief marketing strategist for Idizio Inc. Idizio is a full-service online marketing agency, and we specialize in 3 areas: web design, social media, and of course, email marketing, which I'm going to talk to you guys all about today. In addition to running Idizio, I'm also a solution provider and authorized local expert for Constant Contact. And for those of you guys who aren't familiar with Constant Contact and don't know what it is, it's a full-scale email marketing toolkit. You can send newsletters and announcements like your traditional emails that you think of. You can also do special offers and promotions. You can do feedback surveys, and you can also do event registrations, all using one online toolkit. Very easy to use. I personally have been using Constant Contact since 2003 in different capacities, and I've only been working with them in this sense as an authorized local expert, I would say, for the past 2 years. So it's definitely a product that I stand behind and one that I use myself. But no need to worry. Even though some of the things and the screenshots I'll show you today are from Constant Contact, the rules or basically the philosophy applies no matter what tool you're using. So don't worry if you're not using Constant Contact. This will definitely not be a waste of your time. I'm going to have tons of information that you can apply to your marketing, pretty much starting right after this webinar. So with that being said, The first thing that I'd like to really press upon you is that first impressions matter a lot in marketing. So if you were to send out a message into someone's inbox and it looked like this, the left-hand side, and this looks like an email that might come from Gmail or just your regular Outlook or something like that. So it's not branded. You can see someone's just done like a CC and just thrown everyone's email address in there. There's no pictures, there's no branding, there's nothing really, and it's just a lot of text as well. Nothing to really grab you and really grab your attention. As opposed to the email that we see here on the right, which is basically like night and day. It's very clear who the email is coming from. Southside Cycling, we see the logo that's nice and clear. They have this gorgeous image here of the cyclists racing towards the sunset or the sunrise. And there's very little text. There's only 3 lines that we see here at the bottom, and the very clear call to action. Visit our site, purchase these 3 products. And that's really what you want to aim for. That's the difference between just sending out emails. Like, people ask me sometimes, like, can I just send out emails from, my Gmail or my Outlook? The answer is no. So beyond just aesthetics, I'm going to get into some other reasons why you really want to make sure that you're using a professional tool to send out your email announcements. So what is email marketing? Email marketing has a few components. So first off, we just talked about it's delivering professional email communication. So this might go without saying, but you want to make sure that it's grammatically correct, free from errors. It looks great. It looks like it comes from you. It has your branding. But probably most importantly, you're sending your emails to an interested audience. So how many of you guys are actually in the practice of collecting email addresses? Like, whether it's a sign-up form on your website or whether when you go out to meet people, how many of you guys are actually consistently building your database? Next, email marketing, really, it's sending out information that people find relevant and that people find valuable. You're not just sending out emails for email's sakes. I know for myself, I get over 200 emails every day, so my time is very precious. And I want to make sure that I'm only paying attention to the messages that deliver something that I care about. And then lastly, the last component of email marketing, true email marketing, is that it looks great in any inbox. So you're not losing sight of the fact that a lot of people are reading emails on their mobile devices. So it might look great on your desktop, but how does it translate to an iPhone or an Android? So those are the things that you want to keep in mind. Next, I want to talk about what email can do for your business. Email can definitely help to build loyalty, and it can definitely help to increase repeat business. It's a great way to bring people back to you that have maybe already purchased a product or donated to your cause if you're a not-for-profit. And remember that you've invested money to acquire these customers, and they've already had a positive experience with you, hopefully. So it's much easier for you to stay in contact with these people. So this is just, an example of that. Email can also increase awareness. Sometimes if people, even if they're not stopping to read all of your emails, there's still that subliminal effect. They're seeing your branding, they're seeing your company's name pop up in their inbox, and it definitely, triggers when it's time for them, when they're ready to buy your product or your service. The fact that you've been consistently sending out communications to them will definitely cause them to remember you when they're ready to buy. Email can also, at the end of the day, drive revenue and profit. It's one of the most cost-effective ways to reach out to your target customers. You can think about all the different advertising, everything from, buying an ad during Super Bowl Sunday, a television spot, or placing an ad in a newspaper or anything like that, or Facebook advertising. Definitely in terms of ROI, return on investment, email gives you the best bang for your buck. So, by the end of today's seminar, you're going to be armed with the strategies and tactics to help you harness the power of the inbox and really use email marketing as a way to grow your business. So our quick agenda, I'm going to talk about all of these different things, starting with why email marketing. But first, I have a quick pop quiz. What do you guys think is the #1 app on cell phones? So I know some of you think it's Facebook. Okay, I know a few of you might think that it's that's YouTube or something like that, Candy Crush. So pop quiz over. The #1 app on cell phones is email. More than half of all emails are opened on a mobile device. So, and studies have shown that over 60 or 70% of the time when someone's using their mobile phone, it's to check their email. And also, too, just a fun fact here, think about, in the entire world, more people own a cell phone than own a toothbrush. So let that one sink in. All right, so why email? Because email works everywhere. It's where everyone is these days. Everything from getting updates from, the service providers or your bank, to messages from your family or friends. Email is where it's at. People are on social media, but email is not going away. People definitely check that and go to their email for information. And people read it. 88% of people regularly check their email on their smartphones more than social media or video watching. 91% of people check their email daily. Email is also reliable. Email gets delivered 90% of the time. Facebook posts reach just 2% of fans. So I do classes and seminars on Facebook. And any of you guys who are advertising on Facebook, you know that organic reach in Facebook has dropped tremendously. So email is definitely looking more attractive these days. Email also has 3 times the conversion rate of social media. For every $1 spent on email marketing, there's a $44.25 ROI on average. So those numbers are pretty impressive when you start to think about it. So why regular email, like that first example I showed you earlier, why it doesn't work? #1, if currently your email marketing consists of, just shooting out things from, Gmail or Outlook, you're limited by the number of emails you can send at one time. You can only send like maybe a few dozen. You can't control the format. There's no cohesive branding. You might potentially get dinged for spam. And most importantly, there's no tracking and reporting. So how do you know this email even performed well? So email marketing, when you're doing it right and you're using the right tools, it makes you look great. And most importantly, it has a measurable impact on your bottom line because you can track what you're sending, you know what recipients are responding to, and it reinforces your brand. Next, I want to move on to how to grow a healthy email list, because you could spend all of your time making your emails look beautiful, but unless you have an engaged and interested audience, your efforts are going to be wasted. So growing your list is all about how and where you ask, and yes, you have to ask. So the importance of permission. You want to get express consent, and you want to be straightforward. Let them know what kind of content to expect from you and deliver on that. You also have to give people a chance to opt out. So people should be able to unsubscribe in any email that you send them. And you must also respect privacy. If you have a privacy policy, which you need to, have it posted somewhere clearly visible on your website. And you don't want to overwhelm people. People have given you their email address, so don't inundate them with information. Respect the privilege of the communication and plan strategically. Also, too, you want to make sure that you're following the compliance guidelines for your country. So in the US, it's the canned spam laws, and in Canada, I know it's CASL. So wherever you are, just make sure that you're following the rules and the guidelines set forth. So next, you might be wondering, where can you ask people's permission to join your email list? And the question is anywhere you're at online. So if you're on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, LinkedIn, any platform, make sure you're offering your followers a chance to follow you, to subscribe to your email list. Also, too, you want to think about on your website. So you want to have a spot on your website where you're getting people's information. And then also too, when you're sending out the emails, you want to make sure you follow up right away with an automated welcome email that goes out as soon as they subscribe. And here are some other places. So it's not just about online. If you ever go to any events or networking events in person, make sure you're collecting email addresses. If you have print materials or you're distributing flyers or brochures, make sure you have a call to action that drives people to join your list. If you're doing speaking engagements, or if you have a business where you're sending out bills, or perhaps even a restaurant if it's a menu, and even just a good old-fashioned fishbowl to collect business cards. But seriously, anytime you meet someone that you think might have some interest in your product or service, ask them to join your email list and let them know what they're going to get in return. There's also features like text to join. Constant Contact has a cool feature that if you basically you choose a keyword for your business. So in this case, it's Salon Bella. People text that keyword to the number you see here. So here you see a road sign, and people can instantly join your email list. So basically, people text your message to the number, they get an email back or a text message back with a link to join your list. And also too, because people are so inundated with email, and because email has such a great ROI, there are a lot of people vying for people's attention, trying to get in other people's inboxes. So you have to be very strategic and offer a compelling reason why someone should give up their email address and join your list. So give them a reason. Let people know what to expect. Are they going to get ongoing education related to your product? Will they get VIP preference? Are they going to get insider news or exclusive access? Are you going to offer information like an ebook or a white paper or a guide? Maybe updates on your mission, how things are going. Maybe a friend and family discount. The number one reason people unsubscribe from email lists is because the content is no longer applicable. Speaking of content, but what you want to think about is writing for your audience, not for yourself. You want to make sure that the emails you're sending are, applied to your audience. It's not just all about you. You're not trying to push, yes, at the end of the day, you want to increase sales and boost revenue. But most importantly, the way you're going to get there is if you offer information to your prospects, to your readers, that they enjoy. And we have here a picture of a puppy. Yes, it's from a camp for animals, so of course, but people love to see, pictures of animals. They're getting information about, signing up for an upcoming puppy camp. And you just want to make sure that you're really putting yourself into the mindset of your readers. Like, what's the important information they want to get? People are strapped for time, so how can you disseminate that information as quickly and as easily and as compellingly as possible? And that's what you want to think about every time you send out an email. So another reason why you want to make sure that you're writing for your audience is that 38% of people, so more than a third, will unsubscribe if they find your emails boring. 32% of people will also send your emails to spam if they think it's irrelevant. So all the more reason to stay on your toes. A few of you may be wondering, how much is enough? People ask me all the time, how often should I be sending out email newsletters? How often should I be communicating with my audience? And that really depends, but what I will say across the board is that less is usually more. And what do I mean by that? So in terms of the length of your emails, you want to keep them short, simple, and sweet. 20 lines of text or less. And also too, I mentioned before that pictures and those visuals are really great and they're engaging, but you want to limit it too. People can only absorb so much information. So 3 pictures or less is what you want to limit it to. Also, in terms of calls to action or links that you place into your newsletters, less is more. Again, fewer links equals more clicks. Click-through rate that is. So the highest click-through rates come when you only have one choice for people to make. If you have 2, that's decent. You can see it starts to go down a little bit. If you have 3 or more, there is a steep decline. And once you get to a point where you're having 5 or more links in your emails, your click-through rates tend to really, really take a nosedive. So again, if you're thinking about content, like what do I write about? Think about questions that people ask you about your business, about your product, about your service, things that people want to know about your industry. If you think of the last 10 questions someone asks you or the ones that you get repeatedly, think about answering that in an email, because chances are a lot of other people have that same question. So you can take those questions, and here on the right hand side you'll see how to turn those questions into email subject lines, into email content. And also too, you want to think, we're visual creatures, so 90% of the information that's processed by the human brain is visual. So I always say when I do in-person presentations, you guys are going to remember about 10% of what I say, but what you will remember are the color of my dress, or like the color of my shoes, or something like that. And the same goes for email as well. So communicating through images is super important, and there's a couple of key tips that you want to keep in mind. So first of all, because we're in such a mobile world right now and everyone's on their smartphones, you want to make sure that all of your images are clickable. So what I mean by that is, if you were, for example, sending out an email inviting someone to, like this example here, inviting them to pick up this special offer to get a third night free if they booked at this resort. All of these pictures should link back to that offer. So you see the link here that's the hyperlink that's underlined in blue. That's the URL that actually takes you to the offer. But you can also hyperlink all of these images in the email as well, so those also will take you back to the offer. The reason is because when they do studies, that's just by nature, people like to click on pictures, and that's the behavior that a lot of users exhibit. So you want to make sure that you're capturing that. You also want to keep the key actions above the scroll line. So again, on your desktop and on your mobile device, the screen is only so tall, the height is only so high, so you want to make sure that any pertinent information, any place that people have to actually take action, it occurs before they have to scroll down. And when you're working with photos, you want to make sure that you're using the right size, avoiding copyright issues, using your own photos if possible, or purchasing or using royalty-free stock images. And these are just some resources. Within the Constant Contact platform, there's actually a partnership with Big Stock Photos, so there's actually a whole database of stock photography right within the tool, and many of the pictures are free. Next, I want to talk about creating beautiful mobile-friendly templates that match your brand. So again, majority of your readers are going to be accessing your emails on a mobile device, so you want to make sure it looks just as nice on a desktop as it does on a phone. So go ahead and make sure that you're choosing mobile-friendly templates. So these are just some examples. This is a newsletter here, and announcements and promotions, and this is the type of frequency with which you want to send these types of announcements out to people. So usually we all know about the monthly or quarterly newsletter. Special announcements people send, they're usually date driven. There's an event coming up, or they have a new product launch coming out. And then promotions, I have a client who has an online health and beauty retail store, and so they send out coupons and deals and alerts throughout the month. So that's the frequency that you want to think about the different types of emails, and determines how often you would be sending them out. So you want to make sure that you're consistent. So between your social media properties and your website and your emails that you're sending out, there should be some consistent branding. Your logos, your colors, the type of imagery you use. You want to make sure that people are able to recognize you wherever they're seeing you. Next, getting your emails open. So we've got half the battle. We've grown a healthy list. We're sending out great content. It looks great. So you're still not done yet. You still got to get people to actually open up your emails and take action. So there's a simple recipe for success. 1, a single column template. So in terms of designing your emails, this is what works best. Like sometimes I'll see emails where there's 2 columns, maybe there's information on the right hand side and the left hand side, and people have to kind of scroll back and forth. Like I said, keep it simple, stupid kiss. You want to just make sure that you just have one single column that people can just easily see the information. less than 3 images, less than 20 lines of text, no more than 3 links, I would say. And you want to keep that call to action above the scroll line. So this example we see here, they hit all the nails on the head, and this is what you want to be shooting for in your emails. Also too, just another key rule of thumb, you want to give people 4 reasons to pay attention. So 1, who is the email coming from? Do people recognize the sender? And that's basically, is it coming from a person at your organization, or is it coming from your brand? I always send my emails out. They come from Kendra at Idizio. So I don't send them from info ad or from marketing ad. I send them from me so that people know that it's coming from a human being. Compelling subject line. Is it worth reading? Are you using catchy, snazzy subject lines? I always tell people to kind of think of tabloids, or like those sites like Business Insider or BuzzFeed or Huffington Post, where they have those headlines that really capture your attention, and they really just make you click through, and then you kind of regret it later. But you just want to, maybe if you're not great at coming up with snazzy subject lines, try to look to some of those publications to kind of get into the groove and to see what makes people respond. Good timing. When are you delivering your emails? So the time of day and the time of week that you send is very important for your audience. And then lastly, easy share options. Can people send your emails to friends? Because if you are sending out great content, you want to make sure that people are able to send it out to others and share it and spread the word. Studies have shown that more than 1/3 of people will open an email based on the subject line. So if you're great, if you get good at writing those subject lines, you are 1/3 of the way there. That's a big factor in people determining whether or not they're going to stop and actually open your emails. So 1, you want to really identify your purpose. Be clear, be clever, and entice people. Think about using teaser text. So there's a feature you'll see in some email clients or some email marketing tools where you can put in pre-header text. So for those of you who are on like an iPhone or Android smart device, you might notice that your email looks like this. So you have, of course, your email subject line, in this case, acro yoga at 10,000 feet, UN. But then beneath that, there's this one line of text here, and that's called pre-header text. So in some cases, it's just the first line, whatever that first sentence is in your email, that's what shows up as a pre-header text. But some email clients like Constant Contact and some others allow you to actually customize that pre-header text. So just think of it as sort of like a subheading for your emails. You also want to choose the words that you use in your emails, and especially your subject lines, very carefully. So you want to avoid spam-like terms, is what I call them. So refund, free, act now, save, urgent. Like, yes, the sentiment is correct. You do want people to act now. You do want people to, open up your emails, but definitely a lot of people have spam filters, and your emails will quickly go to the junk folder if you're overusing words like that. Excessive punctuation and all capital letters will also have that same effect. So you want to make sure that you're not doing that. Timing is also everything. So think about how often you're sending out your emails. So if you have people sign up for them, like sign up for your monthly newsletter, make sure you're actually sending out your newsletter monthly, not weekly, not every 2 to 3 months, but sending it when you said you would. You also want to make sure that you're coordinating your timing across your different social channels, and you also want to send it when it's timely. So in terms of choosing what time and day are best to send your emails, it's really going to depend on your audience. So I would just say test, test, test. So I'm going to give you some guidelines here. These are just for different industries. So if you're in the restaurant business, Mondays at 7 a.m. work really well. If you're in the professional services, so like B2B, business to business, Tuesdays very early, 6 a.m. before work do well. And then you can go all the way down to religious organizations, Thursdays at noon. soon to be a best time. So it really varies across industry, and even within, you could have someone in the same exact industry as you, but it depends on your target audience. I would say a good place to start, if you have Google Analytics set up on your website, which you should, some analytics tool, look and see when you get the most web traffic. Like I know for myself, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. are when I get a lot of web traffic. So that's when I tend to send out my newsletters. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip this part here, but this is just giving you sort of a guideline for how to do some testing for when, what day, and what time to send out your emails. And so you guys will be able to access the slides after this presentation. I believe they'll be emailed to you guys, so you can go through and read here if you want to do your own test. Another tip is to use social sharing buttons. So this little toolbar that you see here at the very top of the screen is called a social share bar. So even if you aren't on Facebook, or you're not on Twitter or LinkedIn, if the person receiving your email is and they think your content is great, having that social share bar will allow them to take your content and share it to their networks and further increase your exposure. And also too, asking people to share, like, retweet, pin your content. If you don't ask, you don't get, as my grandma used to say. And also too, if you are on social media, be sure to add links to your social media properties. Get people engaged. You want people to connect with you online across various forms, across various platforms. So if you're on social media, invite your followers, invite your readers to engage with you and interact with you outside of email, and vice versa. So we're nearing the end, and last I want to talk about tracking your results and putting everything all together. So knowing reporting matters. So these are some metrics that you want to think about. Number one is open rate. It's going to tell you who is interested. It's going to tell you whether or not your subject lines are working. Click-through rate is going to show you who's engaged and who's taking action. And shares will show that your audience, it'll show what kind of information your audience finds valuable. You also want to take, so these are all positive things I just talked about. And then also too, on the flip side, you want to look at opt-outs. Don't be afraid of opt-outs. You're always going to have some. It's just the nature of the beast. But what you want to make sure is that if people are unsubscribing at a rate that's higher than usual, you want to see why. Is it because your list is old and stagnant? Has your audience needs changed and you're not keeping up with it? Or, are you bombarding people with too much information? Think about that. And bounce rate will tell you how healthy your list is. Bounce rate is the number of emails that basically aren't able to be subscribed. So here we see these graphics here just showing you the different types of metrics and the types of reporting features that are available in Constant Contact, and pretty much every email marketing platform would have at least these basic things that you can see. So you can see the number of sends, the percentage of people who opened, and actually the people who opened it, what they clicked on. And again, you can see here, this email got 21 unique clicks, and we can see out of that 21, almost half of them, over half of them, were for this one particular link for people to book a session. So again, click-through rates and seeing what people are actually clicking on are all very important. So once you have the metrics in place and you're looking at them, it can be very easy to get, analysis paralysis, or just to get overwhelmed with all the data. So I'm just going to give you some handy rules of thumb for how to interpret your data and how to take next steps. So first of all, if you have, these are like two different scenarios you might see. You might have a high open rate, but a low click-through rate. So the high open rate shows that your subject line is really capturing people's attention and you're doing well with that. But the low click-through rate, maybe your call to action isn't compelling enough, or maybe the content of your emails, once people open it, isn't good enough. On the flip side, you might have a low open rate, but the people who do open it tend to click. So that's great. So maybe at that point, you might be sending out the emails at the wrong time, or maybe the frequency is too low or too heavy. The click-through rate shows that the information, the content is great, but for some reason your audience just isn't compelled to even dig inside and to look at it. So these are some different ways that you can look at your metrics and see what to do next time to improve. All right, guys. So now taking all of that information, and I know it was a lot, so thank you so much for sticking with me. Now taking all of that and putting it together. So your biggest advantage, as a small business, is that your customers, hopefully, they love you. So 3 simple steps to get started is get your contact list together, even if it's just 5 people. Create and send 1 campaign. Starting with 5 people is better than nothing. So start with those people, however many, folks you have, and create your first campaign. Put something together that's going to take all the tips and tricks that I just taught you guys and put that into an email. And then afterwards, watch and what happens. See what happens. Analyze the metrics, see what feedback you get, and then do more of what works and less of what doesn't work. So it's a continual process where you're continually improving. This is what, just kind of a guideline of what an ideal quote unquote email will look like. So maybe these colors might not be you in these pictures, but in terms of the elements that we discussed, this email contains them all. So 1, the preview pane, they've kept that in mind. So they've maximized the very top portion of the email. The subject line is under 50 characters. The business name is in the from text, so it's coming from Half Moon Yoga. They've used the social share bar to send out so people can share their information with their social networks. They've also chosen a mobile-friendly template. It's 1 column. It's very easy to see on both a mobile device and a desktop. The logo is front and center. It's not on the right, so people don't have to scroll over in case their screens are really tiny. They've used the brand colors. So again, purple and green might not be your thing, but in this case, it's the logo colors for this company, Half Moon Yoga Studio. So use what works for your brand. They've also communicated through pictures. So they have this 1 clear image here of women in a yoga class. And you want to make sure, like I said, like those pictures are clickable and limit it to 3 pictures or fewer. We also talked about less being more in terms of text. So focus on the relevant content and have, 20 lines of text or less. And the call to action is above the scroll line. That sign up today, that big purple button right here. They didn't bury it all the way at the bottom of the email. They put it here above the scroll line. And then also to the number of links. 1 is best. And after, 3 or more links, you start to see a significant drop off in the number of people who are engaging with your emails. So that's all that I have for today. So hopefully you guys got at least a few tidbits that you can go and start to implement in your own organization. I really hope that you feel confident that you can go out there and start to send out emails that really help your brand and help to bring in additional revenue. So like I said before, there are tons of tools out there to make life easier, including Constant Contact. And there are definitely ways that you can save time and energy when you're doing your marketing. So some resources, some free resources that I'd like to leave you guys with before I turn it over to my colleague for Q&A. Number 1, if you want to see seminars and training on email marketing and different types of social media marketing, you can go to constantcontact.com and you'll see a link that says Be a Better Marketer, and it runs through all types of seminars and trainings, predominantly free of charge, both in person and online. You definitely want to take a look at those. Next, if you would like a free trial of Constant Contact, you can go ahead and click this link here, bit.ly/CTCT trials, just like you see here. And what that will do is get you set up with a free 60-day trial. So you'll have access to all the tools and everything that I showed you during this presentation. You'll also be able to send out an email to, I believe, up to 100 contacts, just so you can get a feel of email marketing. And also, the trial, a representative from Constant Contact will actually reach out to you, and don't worry, they're not trying to be pushy salespeople. I've actually spoken to them before, but they're actually really helpful, and they'll answer any questions you have about getting your contacts uploaded, logging in, accessing the features. And so it's really a robust free trial that will really help you to get you going, because I hate when people sign up for tools and whatnot, and you know how it is. Life gets in the way and you never use them. So we really want to make sure that that doesn't happen to you guys. And then lastly, if you still need more information and you want to just really dive into blog posts and videos and recorded webinars, you can go to blogs.constantcontact.com/library and get a whole slew of resources to help you and put you on your way to being a better marketer. And with that being said, I want to thank you so much for listening to me ramble for the last 40 minutes or so. Like I said, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague to do live Q&A. But in the meantime, if you have questions and you want to talk to me specifically about anything email marketing related or related to Constant Contact, here's my contact information one more time. I would love to connect with you guys, and take care, good luck with your marketing, and until next time.
Wow, that was a lot of really great information. Thank you so much to everybody for joining our webinar today. And thank you so much to Kelly and to Kendra for all of that great information and all of your hard work. We look forward to seeing you at the next People Per Hour and Supertasker webinar, which will be next month. You'll all get an email about it. And if you have any questions along the way, my name is Ariel Kranzow. You can email me. My email is on the screen. It's ariel@PeoplePerHour. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.